What makes a self-defense class good? Or in other words, what does a self-defense class need to include in order for it to be considered effective? Now, the reason for today's video is that I recently saw this clip of a women's self-defense class. Now, in my honest opinion, this is not self-defense. This, what you just saw, is a false sense of security. If these women, the ones in this video, if they ever find themselves in a real-life altercation, they are going to completely shut down when they realize that none of that stuff is working. I think it's important to remember that self-defense classes are not about empowering the students in the class. It's not about showing up, giving yourself a pat on the back and saying, yeah, I'm ready to take on the world. A good self-defense class is a reality check. It is going to show you what violence looks like, what a violent attack can be. It will show you that you're capable of protecting yourself, but you're only capable of doing so if you are to continue training and take that type of training seriously. Remember, most self-defense classes that I see, including the ones that I myself run, are anywhere from 1 to 2 hours, sometimes 4 to 6 hours. You are not going to be able to learn how to protect yourself in a 6-hour class. Hell, not even in a 40-hour class. It takes years of training to be able to successfully feel confident in yourself and your ability to physically protect yourself. A self-defense class I want you to view as like a gateway drug. Let's call it that. Self-defense classes are a gateway drug to further your training. It is giving you a taste of what you can do if you are to continue your training. So I want to go over 5 things. There are 5 things that I believe a good self-defense class should include. And just to give you context, when I take other courses such as the Shivworks, the knife control concepts, training with Hoover, any of those guys, and again, these are like the most sought out self-defense instructors in the country, all of their courses have these 5 elements within them. The first one, a good course has an overall goal with material that is progressive. Now, there has to be a goal with the course. You don't want your students walking away saying, oh, I just learned a bunch of random moves. I don't know what our goal was, but I learned how to protect myself. There needs to be an end goal. Again, remember, self-defense classes are not designed to give you everything. Focus on a tiny little subject, doesn't matter what it is, but give them something to work towards. And then the material should build upon itself to work towards that goal, so that throughout the course of the class, whether it's a 1-hour class or a 6-hour class, they're getting as many repetitions as possible. If you teach them 20 different techniques, you really are only gonna be able to spend like 5 minutes on each technique. That's not a lot of time to comprehend something. Whereas if we focus on one tiny goal and maybe like 3 or 4 techniques, you're gonna get like 20-30 minutes on each technique. That's enough time for you to start kind of building a little bit of a repetition. So for instance, I run an intro to ground fighting course. It's a 2-hour class that I run. It's typically for my women's self-defense classes. The entire goal of that course, or that class I should say, is to get back to your feet. That's it. For 2 hours, we work on how to properly get back to your feet from your back on the ground. That is all we are focused on. But again, self-defense classes, they're a gateway drug. Give them a little taste. Give them an overall goal, a little bit of material, keep it short, keep it concise, and let it build upon each other. Again, repetition is what we're focused on. The second element is various levels of pressure. Now, any of the courses that I have taken with Shivworks, and I'm gonna call them out in particular, that course does a phenomenal job of creating different levels of pressure. You are forced to work with different body sizes, big people, small people, short, strong, you name it. They're constantly switching up partners so that you learn how to adapt the techniques and skill sets with different types of individuals. Because again, out in the real world, you never know who you're going to encounter. You never know who you're going to get into a fight with. So you have to learn how to adapt accordingly depending on who you're partnered up with. And again, it's different for every person because we ourselves are all built differently. I have different skill sets than you do. I'm a different size than you are. So I'm going to have to make certain adjustments for me. You're going to have to make certain adjustments for you. The only way you're going to figure that out is working under various levels of pressure. Now, at the beginning of these courses, when you're first starting to learn what the skill sets are and the techniques are, it's nice and slow, it's nice and easy, it's consensual. You're just going through the motions so that your body understands what you do. And then you start increasing the intensity over the period of time so you get a little bit more resistance. By the end of these courses, again, a good self-defense class is going to have essentially a test of some sort. You're going to have a high level pressure test where you are going to fail more times than not. And it's important that you fail in these courses so that you give yourself that reality check that says, hey, I'm not going to win every single time. This isn't going to work every single time. Because guess what? In fighting, you don't win all the fights. But if you never have that experience, if you have that false sense of security, that false reality of what a violent attack looks like, when you do find yourself in a real attack, you are again going to shut down when you realize that none of that stuff is working. So it's critical, in my opinion, this is one of the most important components of a good self-defense class, is that you work under various levels of pressure where you're going to have to make micro adjustments on the fly. Next up, you need to have an emotional connection. People need to feel what it's like to be in a fight, yet in a safe training environment. You need to know what it feels like when your adrenaline kicks in, your heart's going a million miles per hour, your body starts shaking a little bit, your breathing starts going all over the place. That fear starts to kick in a little bit. The only way that you are going to really understand how you respond to a threat is if you can train at a high level of intensity where that fear and adrenaline are going to kick in. Again, that emotional connection. Only then will you realize how your mind and body responds. Some people think that they can go out there and handle themselves in most violent encounters, and then the moment that punch connects with them, they completely shut down, they get emotional, their body shuts down, all they want to do is run away, but they don't have that opportunity to. They have to fight. So it's good when you're working in a safe training environment where you're able to trigger that fear, those emotions to an extent, so that you can get a good idea of how your mind and body respond. The goal is that the more you train, the more often that you put yourself in uncomfortable positions, you begin to get comfortable in them, which means you start to control that fight or flight response, and you start training your body that if it feels these emotions, if it feels that fear, if it goes into that mode of, oh my God, I'm being attacked, your body immediately knows what to do and you go right into fight mode rather than trying to run away. You don't want your first time that you ever experience that fight or flight response to be in a real life altercation. Get into a good training course with good instructors that are going to put you under stressful situations where they're going to trigger those emotions and they're going to let you work through it. They're not just going to stop it because you start crying or you get upset a little bit. I'm not saying that we have to take it that far, by the way, just in general, but we want you to be able to work through that a little bit so that you learn how to control that. And then ultimately, when you find yourself in a real situation, you've been there before, you've done it numerous times, you know exactly what you need to do, and you get right to it. Number 4 on this list is you should leave a self-defense class feeling at least a little bit vulnerable. At no point should you ever leave a self-defense class feeling like you can take on the world. It should give you a good, harsh reality check of, this is what a violent attack looks like. This is how easy it is to mess up. This is how easy it is to fail at these situations. The more you do this, the more reps that you get in, the more uncomfortable that you put yourself in training, the better off that you're going to do. But a self-defense class is going to expose your weaknesses. It's going to expose areas that you need to work on. And that's the purpose of it. That is the goal of a good self-defense class, is to give you that reality check of, hey, I'm not the most prepared that I thought I was, but I can do better if I continue training, which leads me to the 5th and final point. Self-defense classes, like I said, are a gateway drug. They should encourage the students in that course to seek out further training, whether it's with you or a different gym. It doesn't matter. A self-defense class should give you that reality check, tell you that, hey, I'm not quite there yet. I'm capable of protecting myself, but I need to continue training. And it should encourage those students to seek out further training. Now, my recommendation for that is to find a combat sport. Boxing, Thai boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, something that has a live sparring component. Because when you have those live sparring components, you are going to get all of those elements that were included in the self-defense class to begin with. You're going to get a goal. You're going to have progressive material over time that you get to work under various levels of pressure, various different body sizes. You're going to have an emotional connection for sure, because when you're getting strangled or held down or smothered or punched in the face, it's incredibly uncomfortable. That is a big emotional toll that a lot of people have to battle with. This, a safe training environment with live sparring components is a great way to work through all that. And then again, every single class is going to leave you a little bit more vulnerable, because you're going to realize the more you train how dangerous fighting is. But that's a good thing, because once you realize that, hey, I can't really fight, then you're going to be thinking twice before you ever put yourself into a situation where you would have to fight, because you know how dangerous it can be and you know how easily a small fight could change your life forever. Now, me personally, I've been running self-defense classes for quite a while. I'll admit that at the beginning, I was running pretty crappy self-defense classes. I have been involved in courses that utilize the bug suit like you saw in the video. I have been the person in the bug suit, and let me just tell you, you don't really feel much, you can barely move, and I understand now that being in that bug suit does not show people what a real life attack looks like, because I can barely move as it is. Real attacks are fast, they're aggressive, the attackers are determined to get to you. They're not going to just stop because you punch them in the face. And if you do land a good shot, you are going to get a reaction out of somebody no matter how tough they are. When I don't feel that in the bug suit, I'm not able to give you, the student, a good reaction. Now, if you're watching this video and you've been wanting to take a self-defense class, or you're wanting to just continue improving on your learning and your ability to protect yourself, I'm going to post a list of instructors and courses down below that I feel are some of the best out there. I have trained with or under the vast majority of these individuals. They are some of the best instructors out there. Their courses are top notch, and the best part is, again, all of them include the 5 elements that we just discussed in this video for what makes a good self-defense class. So check them out, get out there, go train, stay safe as always.